Hello and welcome everyone to our 411 on startup pitch decks and how to pitch better. My name is Sophia Porter and I'm the executive director for Black Orlando Tech. So thank you everyone who is tuning in and watching. As we're just going to take a few seconds for more people to pull in, please put in the comments your name, where you're from, and what industry you're currently a part of. And then, of course, during this presentation, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to go ahead and put them in the comments for us to pull and answer at the end. So I'm going to just go into a quick deep dive in regards to who is BOT. So we're Black Orlando Tech. We are a nonprofit here in the Orlando area. Let me just pull up the screen real quickly. We were founded in 2016 by Joshua Walker and Mike Felix. And again, we're a nonprofit here in Orlando. We're in Central Florida, where we're really devoted in improving the economic growth of underserved communities. And the way that we're doing that, along with our mission, is that we are trying to get as many of people as us in tech. Rather, that is through tech upskilling. Maybe you have a tech startup idea, or you already have a startup idea where we can help improve, which is going to be about today to our conversation, but really improving yourself to get in front of investors and be investment ready. Along with, we have monthly workshops in person in the Orlando area, along with our online webinars to teach everyone that is far and wide. But again, we're just really trying to increase as much awareness in regards to how amazing technology can be as a career and even as a business venture. There's so many activities, there's so many networking opportunities here in Central Florida and just across the nation for communities like us to really get involved in. Real quick as well, if you want to save this QR code or visit our Eventbrite bot landing page or Black Orlando Tech Eventbrite, you'll be able to see all of our upcoming events that are coming up. We do have two other ones coming as well, which I'm going to switch in a moment just to showcase to you guys what those are. But you can definitely just keep following this QR code to get up to date on all our upcoming events. And then if you are in the Orlando area in person, we are always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people who can help with their expertise in operations, marketing, with events and outreach, content development. And then also we are building a mentorship program, and we're definitely looking for volunteers to be a part of that. So if you're someone who's already in the tech community, please feel free to also scan this QR code and provide your information, and we'll definitely get into contact with you. And I just want to show those events here real quickly. So next week in downtown Orlando at the Continent, we do have our Thriving in Tech. This is really geared towards people who are non-technical in this space and just want to learn about what are the success strategies for that. And then we have our From Idea to App event that's going to be happening in September. And then in regards to our programming, we currently also have just launched our cloud computing cohort. This program is considered self-paced. Right now, we are going through a lot of live demo um, classes, office hours as well, if you really want to get that live component. But anyone can join. We're really focused on the Amazon Web Services of cloud computing, and this is currently being focused on and instructed by our bot founder, Joshua Walker. So you're really going to be getting a lot of great insight in regards to what it is about cloud technology, what it's like to have a career in there. And we also help you with creating a portfolio as well. So you're able to get certification ready, but also job ready to start applying to some new roles that are different. And then Joelle and Jehue, who are going to be our speakers for this evening, they're going to talk more about at the end about our accelerator program, which is our tech startup launchpad. This program is also open for anyone to apply to, but just want to specify we are looking for tech startups, not necessarily small business owners. So if you have a tech startup that you're ready to scale and you really would looking for some mentorship, some resources, how to better talk to investors to get investments for your startup business, I'm being very, of course, biased, but definitely try to apply for accelerator. We would love to have you for our next fall cohort. Okay. I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to bring Joelle and Jehue on the board. So let me just get that switched over. And again, if you guys have questions as they're going through things, please just go ahead and put that in the comments. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Break a leg.
All righty. Hey everybody, we're checking in. We're doing what we normally do with our cohorts, but we're doing it on a scale that's going to be a little bit more diluted but open-ended, so we can give you guys some insights to help you along your journey, especially if you haven't joined any of our accelerators, and then just give you some action items that maybe you can apply to what you're crafting for when you're going out and talking in the wild. As Safia said, my name is Jehue Francios. I'm the startup director for BOT. I'm also a co-founder with CoFound, which is a venture studio hybrid focused on helping founders shore themselves up and get ready for investment. And somebody with a similar last name who is not related is Joelle.
What's up, BOT community? What's up, Jay?
What's up?
So like Jay, you mentioned, both of us are really kind of, help support and help provide a lot of value within the BOT community. So we are running the BOT Accelerator program. My name is Jehue Francios. Like Jay mentioned, same last name, but we're not related. But we're like brothers. So in terms of my background was in finance. From there, I went to software development, and now I'm in health tech. And I'm also a co-founder of CoFound. And like Jay mentioned, CoFound is really a resource, a tool, an organization that we put together to really provide value and provide access, provide help to people that look and sound like me and you. So looking forward to being able to share what we do. And we definitely recommend that if you're in the tech space, you're interested in tech space, if you're looking to launch a software-enabled company, love for you to apply for the accelerator program that's going to be coming up in the fall. The program is getting better. We're adding more resources. We're adding more tools. And again, it's something that, as time goes by, is going to be really, really important and sort of support vehicle for everybody.
All right. And so with that being said, we're going to just do the job of jumping right in. This deck, again, is to just kind of highlight a lot of the topics that we deem important when it comes to crafting your pitch deck and your pitch. We also want to say that everyone has a unique spin on how they get you to present. Everyone has a unique spin on how they want you to create your deck. This is based on our learnings. As founders, we are currently running our own companies, but we also have an amalgamation of years under our belts where we've taken learnings from successes and losses and then put it in a way that we can create this pseudo framework that allows for us to help you create the narrative that we think really gets a clean story across to an investor. So it's no longer the discount of who you are or how you look, but it's more the opportunity you present that's going to be the thing that the investor weighs in on. So with that being said, again, pitching 101. And as we go through, please write your questions. Safia will get to them, and feel free to ask anything. All right. So first slide. Let's hope this don't break because I'm sitting here like I want to click. It's going to be the time where I go click it and it just leaves.
There
All right. Word. So I guess Joe, if you want to lead on that, if you want to.
Yeah, I can jump in. So, we really want to start there because, like Jay mentioned, there is a lot of different mixed messages in tech. You talk to 6 different people, you're going to get 6 different ideas on how a pitch should go or how a deck layout should be. But based on our experience, based on our framework, based on our success stories that we've had with other founders, we've built this framework to make it easier and simpler for founders. So that being said, our approach is it's one pitch, you have one deck because you're one company. So it's not about chasing the audience, whether the audience be a VC, whether audience being an investor, whether audience being an accelerator program. The idea is that we want to put the focus on your company, the success of your company, the value that your company provides, and more importantly, the opportunity as well. And we want then those other parties, those stakeholders to get on board. It's not you having 6 different pitches, trying to remember which pitches today, which deck do I use today. Because in the long haul, we know what the numbers are, and it just doesn't work in tech. People of color raise, I believe, 3% of venture capital in tech. So all of those, different signals are not leading to investment, which is what we want to change.
Also, we believe in one deck, one pitch, in one company because we want to put the leverage back in your hand. It's not something that we want to give the reins to the investor like everyone tends to do. We really genuinely believe in the fact that you as a founder, if you understand your company, all layers of it, you will have one sound pitch that will be met with the same reception across the board. That they're going to see an opportunity. They're going to know I'm stupid if I pass up on this, and they're going to chase it. That's what we're doing. We want to create that narrative early. We want you guys to understand that's how we approach deck building. So if that's different from what you've already learned, understand it just gets more different from here.
Facts.
All right. Yeah, I just want that out front. Like, we're not going to sit here and play like everybody else. We are different. We learned differently. We are different. This is what we learned. All right. So some of the more important factors to consider when it comes to crafting your pitch deck and pitch is a couple of points that we like to say that allows you to get the clear, concise narrative across the board. We are about you telling somebody in under 10 words what it is you do. We're about you being really focused, no fluff, just I need it to be interesting and I need it to be kind of like we call it core functionality. We say what you genuinely do without there being any buzzwords around it to make it so somebody can get caught up in the I guess the hype that's around whatever word you're using. We're like hype aside, but like fluffiness aside, what is it that you do? That's kind of what you want to get across to an investor right off the bat. Like, we think that this works in not only your pitch, but in your conversation with the individual. I know Joel tends to do this thing during the cohorts where he's like, imagine you're in a line at Starbucks and the person in front of you turns around and says, what do you do? You're not going to say, well, I work on, you don't give them the big, huge vision. You give them clear cut because it's a random person in Starbucks that's interested in what you're doing. You give them the clear cut, boiled down version. This is what I do. And if you don't see that they have a spark of interest, maybe you're not doing enough of a job of creating that interest that you should create for an investor. I only say that because it doesn't matter about industry. Something that's interesting, something that sounds like an actual opportunity is going to come across like that to everyone. Like, if you're like, yo, you get a chance to go to an all-star game, everyone's going to be like, oh, cool, all-star. What all-star game? Regardless of what sport it is, you've got them with all-star game. It's got to be that kind of level of interest.
And I want to add to that, we've seen a lot of pitch competitions. We talked to a lot of founders. We helped a lot of founders. And we can say that across the board, the most common issue that we see, and even with pitch competitions, you can even talk to judges of pitch competitions. The most common issue that we see, the most common problem, the most common miscommunication that founders create is because they're not clear about what they are, who they are. They're not concise. They're adding too much. They go on and on. They're not really focusing on value, and they're just not interesting. When you're pitching, and the pitching is not just for investors. Pitching is also maybe you're trying to add to your team. Pitching is maybe friends or family around you. Pitching is maybe just being able to articulate what the opportunity and the venture is. Either way, you have to be clear, concise, and interesting to all of those different audiences. So we don't go into, and we recommend, don't go into all of the features. Don't go into how you got there, or your fancy algorithm on how you got there. When you really start off in terms of a pitch or a narrative, which is another way that we address a pitch, right away we want to set the framework. We want to set the table that this is who I am, this is what we do, and from there, then we can build on that. But we don't want our audience to do a lot of trying to figure out what exactly is he or she saying, and that is a huge problem in tech, and it's common across the board. So that's the number one thing, out of everything that we talk about today on this presentation, this is the most important component. You always have to be clear, concise, and interesting. Strip stuff down. Less is more. You don't have to go on and on. So it's very important that you always remember that. It's going to get you through a lot of doors. It's going to make you more memorable as well. So I can jump in too, Jay, on this one. So we bring this up early because if we're talking from an investor standpoint, you have to remember that the investor has a job and they have a boss. I know that from the outside, it seems like the investor is this all-knowing person with all this money who's willing to cut a six-figure check, but they're people just like me and you, and they have responsibilities just like me and you. So that being said, when you're talking to an investor, the first thing that they're thinking about is risk. Is how much of a risk is this venture? And the more effective that you are as a communicator, as a founder, the more risk that you're removing from the equation for the investor. So that picture, that it looks like a time bomb. It's pretty accurate. You think about your venture as like when we see one of those 80s movies when somebody receives a bomb and they have to defuse a bomb. Each one of those wires that the bomb disposal team will cut. This is you removing stress and anxiety for an investor. And if you can remove all of it, then you're on your way. So always remember that. The idea is not for them to fall in love with you or your product. The idea really is to remove risk. The more risk that you remove, the more comfortable that they're going to get. And then you're going to be able to have more meaningful conversation, because essentially this is kind of like dating initially when you make this first pitch.
It also goes hand in hand with how you're talking to your potential clients and customers, right? Your users, if they feel as though you're truly here solving something for them and they understand it clearly, and you've done the job of taking away any worry, any concerns, they're more likely to jump on board because you've said, I understand your problem. I inherently created my solution based on that problem. Here you go. That's something that it helps with the sales funnel. It's basically de-risking happens across the board. It's not solely something you do for investors. It's also for yourself, because a lot of times when we're talking, especially to not only investors, we're talking to other founders, we're talking to family members, we're talking to random people. We tend to do this thing where we read faces and then we start to tap dance. And the tap dance is based on expression. The tap dance is based on, I don't know if this person really likes it. Let me throw a feature out because this feature is cool. This feature is going to get them to latch on. But that just throws risk, because now it sounds like you do a million things, but you're not good at one. We're saying the way you're going to win is if you tell somebody, I make pancakes. That's simple. They understand all they need to know. What you do with those pancakes, what toppings you add, all that other crap, that's fine. I make pancakes. Simple. That's what you're doing. You're making it so an investor can look at you, because they're already, if we're going to be transparent, you're walking in, if you're a woman, you're already getting discounted. If you're Black, you're getting discounted. If you're both, you're discounted. If you're a vet, you're discounted. There's a lot of things that are already working against you. Don't let your story be one of those things that also works against you. Do the work of taking away all the clutter so they don't have any more questions. There's no issues with, I don't really understand where you're going. I don't really get this part. You don't want that. You want questions that sound more pointed. You want them to go, because you've said X, have you ever thought of Y? Showcasing that they're genuinely interested and they're willing to go on this journey with you. That's kind of where we're trying to.
And essentially, de-risking makes the audience feels like you're reading their mind. Facts. You're answering questions and concerns that they have before they even ask it, and that that creates a lot of confidence and creates a lot of rapport.
All right. Next slide. So building momentum, FOMO. I think everybody's heard it. If you haven't heard it, the term is FOMO, fear of missing out. I know I'm freezing and I look like a crazy person. But it's just fear of missing out is something that happens in the industry when you create your own hype cycle around where your company is going and the fact that people have already missed out on the opportunity. That is what FOMO is. We want you to lean into it in your deck building because you need to create this story that showcases you guys are already late to this game. This is time for you to catch up. And in them doing that, you're giving them the ability to come off as smart, like they're making an educated decision for their fund. You're making it so somebody that's listening can go tell their friend, because that's something that you tend to say, Joel, is like around Thanksgiving. They want to have that story like, oh, I just invested in some cool shit. Like, That's what I just did. Yeah, this was a really good project. You guys probably never heard of it. Time for you guys to play catch up. That's what you want to give them the power to do. So you create the FOMO and build that momentum around your product.
And I want to add too, so something that Jay says is you have to make your company seems inevitable. The idea is that I'm working on this project. It's going well. I have customers, I have feedback, I have users, I have revenue, I have partners. Things are moving in a positive direction. And from an investor standpoint, you want to make them feel like they need to get on board early before it's going to be too expensive for them to get on board. And I know it sounds like hard to do when you don't have anything as of yet, but it is not that difficult when you start breaking up the goals. Don't think of this journey as you have to be fully polished and ready to go. And I'm going to go to this investor and show them that we're doing $30,000 a month and now we can raise. The journey is about a number of different steps. And so you can build momentum in small chunks. You can show, okay, like we mentioned, we can show how many users we have, how much the users are engaging, how much the users are coming back, how many referrals we're getting, how many partnerships we're getting. And that's even if before we get to revenue, right? And even if the revenue is $500, $5, $50,000, $5,500 a month, it is still momentum. It is still you showing that this is something that's moving in a positive direction, and we just need more resources to get it going. And
I already figured it out. So that worry that you guys have about, oh, is this the founder that can do it? No, I already figured it out. I'm already there. Y'all are just late. So if you could add more gasoline to this fire, like we can be here faster. Like, again, the inevitability that you said is I'm already going in a direction that the market is telling me I have to go. People coming on board and buying in are showing that I'm going in the right direction. You guys have missed out on this from the early onset. You didn't come to me in my angel round and my pre-angel round, whatever. You didn't show up when I really needed you. You weren't out there shooting balls.
Or when I emailed you my deck.
Exactly. But now you're here. You're in my series, my seed, and going into A. Like, it's time for you to play catch up. Before, like Joel said, it gets more expensive.
And it's FOMO is real. In terms of the investment community, that is the reason why you see that certain companies, everybody wants to invest in certain companies, is because number one, like we mentioned before, that company has been de-risked. That company has figured some stuff out. They have momentum. So now if I cut this check, the chances are that they're going to be able to leverage that into growth, into progress. So it is something that you can't go into this journey not thinking about and not creating. It is a huge unlock if you can start thinking about that early, identifying the right people, and then articulating and communicating your momentum that you're building for your company as well. So I'll jump in on this one. So this is something that we talk a lot about to our founders and our accelerator. And if they're on here, then they'll confirm that. I know that in tech, there's always this story, there's romance about companies being rocket ships. That's the analogy that tech uses. That's the analogy that investors use, that accelerators use, that bloggers use. They use in podcasts. That this company is doing well, and they get to a point they just take off like a rocket ship. And Jay and I at co-found, we totally disagree about that analogy, because the journey is not like a rocket ship. A rocket ship catches fuel, and a rocket ship goes up and it goes fast. But that's not what the journey is. The journey to us, and the journey that we see, is really like a bullet train. If you think about a train that is leaving the station, and that train is gaining momentum, that train is starting to get traction, and that traction again could be users, could be customers, could be referrals, could be mentions on social media, could be follows, could be partnerships. As that train is getting traction and getting steam and traction, that the land is not flat. You have to go uphill, which slows your momentum. Then you go downhill when things are doing good and you pick up more steam. So that's the journey. It's going to be ups and down. But the idea is, if your train has so much momentum that it is easily going to be able, over time, manage the ups and downs. And that's the idea of how the journey, and how you implement a lot of your business decisions as well. So the idea.
I'll also say this: the other way that we also approach it is, it's also where you have to think of a bullet train within city limits. It's not cranked up to whatever its top speed is. It is still making its way through the city. It's still it's not going to stop anywhere, because it's already picked up people at its station. It's now just going to the destination, right? So it's not going to stop, but it's not going at a clip that's insane, because it's within city limits. That's what we're trying to tell you. When you're crafting your story, you want to show to investors or other people that are potentially going to join your team, yo, this is where I'm at. You already missed it. You can still maybe try jumping on, but you've already missed me at the beginning. There are no stops here. This is a forward moving thing. Do you want us to go faster? Do you want us to get outside of city limits faster? All right, come on board. Come help me get this train really moving. That's what we're trying to showcase.
And to back up what Jay said too, another component of it too is from the investor standpoint. So think of the investor as like a different railroad track or different station. If you're chasing the audience, like we mentioned before, if you're chasing investors, hey, send out all these emails, hey, come check me out, we have the greatest thing since sliced bread. What that forces this bullet train to do is, you're going to have to go on a different track, and sometimes slow down to stop at a station to maybe pick up an investor, because fundraising is a job, and it does slow the growth of your company. So if you look at that analogy, we don't want to slow down and stop the train for an investor to get on board. We want the investors to start running along the side and jump on board while this train is moving. So that's again why it's really important for you to start thinking and visualizing what the journey looks like in a more linear way.
And let's get more into the metaphor. The other thing that happens with some tracks, when you jump the tracks, you derail your train, because you're chasing the narrative of a thesis that an investment fund has, and you're trying to fit that one. It's like, why do I keep crafting myself to fit? And then I say all the words that matter to you. I spent 6 months trying to craft my pitch to sound great for you. You guys are on board. Great. I've now got $100,000. The next investor is like, what is this crap? It means nothing to them. I haven't done the job of making my company sound. I haven't done the job of making it so I truly understand the ins and outs of what I'm offering. I've done the job of catering my story to you. That's what you're doing. That's for a check. I literally just sat here and crafted my story, put the makeup on that you liked, so I looked good for you. And now I'm not good to the dating pool. Nobody knows what my value is. That's what we're saying. Do not chase. You don't want to chase. They're going to understand who you are if you do a great job at explaining clearly who you are and what you have to offer. Your company has a story. Your company's story just needs to be crafted and said cleanly. That's it. Next slide, right? Let's see if I freeze again.
Good to go.
All right, word.
Cool. I want to jump on this one, Jay, because this one is
a numbers person and I don't do numbers. Yeah, I know.
Nah, dog. You know how we do. You know how we do. This one is near and dear to me because, it was a real unlock when Jay and I figured it out. And I know I said clear, concise, and interesting was the most important thing. this is a close second. If we think about those investors that have a boss, that have a job, ultimately, when they invest in your company, they are looking for a return on that investment. So your deck, when it goes out, your pitch, overall, what it needs to do, what it needs to convey is that there is a big financial opportunity that's been missed out on, that's just there for the taking. And that is the number one feeling that you have to have across the board. This is the most important thing that you can do. The more time you spend on this and crafting, showing the opportunity in a quantitative way, the more powerful your messaging and easier your job becomes. And in terms of quantitative, what do we mean? We're talking about using numbers to show the opportunity. It's not that, oh, there's a lot of people. There's 3 billion people in the world. If we get 10%, we have a great opportunity. No, that's not quantitative. That's not a quantitative opportunity. What we're talking about is you using data, research, numbers, ratios, metrics, analytics to show that these are a bunch of signals that say there's a huge opportunity here. This is how many people that have this problem that are not being catered to. This is what the cost would be if we were able to get all of those potential customers on board. This is what the conversion rate could be. This is what the federal government is saying. This is what the trade organization is saying. There is a lot of information, a lot of data readily available on Google for you to paint that narrative, but you have to get comfortable with it. You have to focus on being quantitative about the opportunity. You have to show a big effing opportunity. There is nothing. If that's not there, then you're gonna be spinning your wheels. And that's what we mean by when this narrative is done right. When you do this right, it makes all the sense in the world for an investor to get on board. Because and the other thing that it does too is it gives you credibility as well immediately.
It immediately eliminates the used car salesman vibe. Like it immediately makes you somebody that they're like, oh, they understand their space. They're genuinely here to teach and educate because they have a command of the space that they're in. The vertical that they're in is real to them. They know the ins and outs. We don't have to go hire somebody on to try to make them understand what they think they're in. These are people that are genuinely going to figure and solve something out if they haven't already. Like we already work in a place of, I say discount because that's the easiest way to kind of describe it. But we already work from a place where we're at a deficit when we walk into a room. They're looking at you, you don't pattern match. Like whether you're a woman, whether you're a person of color, you're underserved, whatever. You do not pattern match with the person that they know from their dorm room at school. So you have to do the job of showing them that I'm an expert in this field. And if it's not through a doctorate, it's going to be through the command of the numbers that showcases that you've taken the time to truly delve into this industry. You learned all it is that you need to learn, especially in the way that it regards your actual solution. But you need to own those numbers. Numbers are going to be your lifeblood.
Spot on.
These are the pillars that we believe in when we come to teaching people at our cohort, the pillars that you should focus on when you're creating. These are things that we've learned. Again, a lot of the way that we crafted our framework is based on wins and losses, things that we thought, hey, this is what's going to help us get the unique KPIs that matter to us, that give us the leverage and data that we can show to an investor. But again, this is us. A lot of people will tell you differently, but the way we believe it is customers, users, product, and revenue. Validation over traction. Validation means you have people that have bought in to what it is you've presented them with. It's not, oh, I can do a good job at selling something. Great. You can get somebody to buy a bar of soap. But did you get them to understand that you believe this bar of soap can help cure cancer? If that's something that you did and they bought it because they too believe, based off of what you presented to them, that it can cure cancer, you've done validation of your solution, of your offering. That's what we're meaning.
And Jay mentioned it. This was a really important part of our framework, which is unique to us. I'm sure a lot of you attend a lot of tech events, listen to podcasts, blogs, whatever outlets are there, and we all hear traction, traction, traction. When you ask an investor what does traction mean, you can ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers within the tech ecosystem about what traction means. And as a founder, that doesn't help you build. It doesn't help you understand. It doesn't help you relate. So we really unpack traction, and we relabel it validation so that founders can really understand really what the job is. The job is you want to validate with those 4 different pillars and show that it can be repeated. So it's being very specific about customer validation. How many customers do I have? What's the growth look like? How many customers are we getting week over week or month over month? Same thing with users. How many today? How many tomorrow? How many next month? How long are they staying on the platform? So when we start trying to validate the product, are they really creating an account when they're on your platform? Are they really using your platform? Are they using all of your features? Are they recommended to their friends? Those are specific things that you can do, and that is going to really help you in terms of really validating your value of your company. And of course, revenue, right? I know the revenue is usually the toughest part for young companies. So you don't have to get stuck on the idea that I don't have enough revenue. You can show validation in a number of different ways. Again, with this journey is in steps. So you don't necessarily have to come out the gate and do 50K month over month in terms of revenue. So very important, and really this is the big difference. And this is where, to be quite honest, so there's a couple of things. We talk a lot about investors on this call, because that's a lot of times this how a lot of this audience, just what they're looking for, right? Thinking about, okay, I want to raise, like, how do I do it? Our approach, and within the Bot Accelerator, we talk a lot about this. All of this, although we're talking about from the context of an investor, this is really for you. This is for you to become a better founder. The more you understand your company, the value of your company, the more comfortable you are with numbers, that makes you a better founder. And better founders make great companies that have big exits. So it really starts with you at the top of the funnel. So if you look at it from the standpoint of a founder, this is us asking you, keep it real. Like, how many customers do you have? Did you get them by luck? What was it because of your industry? Like, can you repeat it? You have to be honest with yourself so that you can really build a strong company and not really drink your Kool-Aid, so to speak.
It also helps you when you're doing validation to see the ways that you didn't anticipate your user or customer engaging with your product, right? Because we have what we think somebody's going to do, and that's how we set it up. We want them to click here so they can get whatever the solution is. And it turns out people jump on, they don't use it, they sign off, they come back a week later, then they use it, and they're a super user. There's something that you learn when you're in the process of validation, which is still a strong point that helps you in your conversation with not only an investor, but with your team, with yourself. Understanding maybe we're doing too much, because the thing that tends to happen with founders is you build too much too soon. You want to solve everything, but you should solve this really niche item, this thing that is like specific to your audience. And once you actually accomplished it, you can go and it's the growth there is exponential. You can do whatever you want. But once you solve this really unique thing that serves as a moat for you, you have the ability to then see where your audience is going to grow, how it's going to grow, how they interact with your product. And that's going to help you on your journey. It's going to help you do things faster. It's going to help you get out of the muck. It's going to help you get out of the ambiguity. Like if you're sitting there and you're looking at this fog and it looks like it's kind of working, but there's a bunch of things that can go chase, you're not going to ever get anything done. You're the shiny penny chaser. It happens. I've been that person. Everything looks great when it's brand new and shit. Like I'm like, oh, I can do that too. AR, VR, sure, why not? I can also go to the moon. You never get anything done. You don't grow. But when you take your time and you start looking at the actual validation, the KPIs that you set up in the house and said, this is what we're trying to prove out by these specific use cases, these things, and you start learning other action items that you didn't anticipate for, it helps you get a clear picture as how you should approach your audience. It makes decisions a lot easier. And then you'll find out It makes your job way easier because then everything is in service of that validation point, of that KPI that you've identified. All right, next slide. Here we are. World building. This is fun. World building is what you need to do in regards to your company, period. Writ large, we tend to do this thing where there's a stat that says women tend to be more conservative in their storytelling and men tend to overinflate what they're offering. There needs to be, instead of talking about the fluff of how amazing your company is, instead of talking about all the different things that your company is currently doing and what you hope to do on your roadmap, everybody's got that roadmap slide. We say world building. The conversation needs to be around how this world was before your company and how it has changed when you are 30,000 feet in the air and you're looking at the future. Like, you need to really do a job at taking care of, like Joel said earlier, erasing all of the worry, concern, anxiety. Your job is to make people scared, like out of their minds. Make them terrified. There's a zombie at the door. It is under the stairs. There's a dinosaur in their bedroom. Like, everything. It scare them completely out of their minds. And then go, hey, don't worry about it. My solution is this breath of relief. But you have to show then where it goes from there. Like, the world will benefit from me existing because I've done this. Because now you have the ability, since we've enabled XYZ to happen, you see the world from this different perspective. These are the opportunities you have now as a user of my platform.
And to keep it real, this is what investors need. You have to be inspirational. In order to build a $1 billion company, you have to be ambitious and you have to change the way life or work happens within your vertical. So investors want to invest in big, bold ideas, and you have to show them a big, bold idea. And to add, it's not just investors. Your team needs it. Your customers need it. Your spouse or your partner needs it. Your network, your tribe needs it. Your family needs it. You have to build the vision, the mission, the purpose of this is where we're going. This is what life looks like before my company launched. This is what life looks like after. And Jay does something that he mentioned that too. You have to show how your technology is removing worry. I no longer have to worry about this because my software does that. You no longer have to think about this because my software does that. You don't have to be scared of this because my software does that. This is not expensive no more because my software does that. This is really the huge component, especially when you're wrapping up your narrative or your pitch. You have to, it's not about your future. We'll get to that. The investors are investing in you and your vision, and you have to be a visionary. It's not enough that you're really smart and that you know the space and that you're a hard worker and you're a nice person. You go to church, you work out, you take your vitamins. That's not enough. This is not what this is. The investor needs you to say, I'm going to go challenge the world and I'm going to take you with me. And my company is going to change the way pancakes get made when we launch. Whatever your industry is.
And he's 100%. You got to think about it like this. It's also because, like you said, it's not about you being the smartest, hardest working person. I think a thing that tends to happen, especially with founders, we all get jaded. We all reach that point where we're like, yo, I've been to 8 or 9 different accelerators. I've done this, that, and the third. I can't raise money. And I'm sorry, the investor doesn't owe it to you. You haven't gained this bank of I've done so much shit already. This is gonna help you be okay with who I am going forward. It doesn't matter. You literally start from scratch with a lot of people, and if you can't do the job of inspiring them to go, oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. Like, yeah, and you're already doing some of this stuff you said, that's dope. If you can't do that job, this isn't for you. Because you have to be a person that inspires not only the investors to give you money. You're asking for millions of dollars, bro. They're not just going to be like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Let me give you some money. You can't even get like $20 from a friend. You're going to convince somebody to give you $1 million off of a half-ass story? No, you got to do the work. Also, on top of that, you're talking about having to convince a team of people to work for you, a guy that hasn't done it before, but you know you can because you're the person that said I can, and you proved to some people that you can. You've got to do a lot of convince. If you're not inspirational, you're not going to carry this across the chasm. You've got to do a job that showcases you can build a world that has you winning, has your company winning, and your company winning means the world is better for it. That's the job of the founder.
And I mean, we see it with politicians, right? Some politicians don't know policy, don't know anything, but they can inspire. And some politicians make you feel like I can run through a wall for this person, right? So that is part of the job. The idea of just having something really cool and that's everybody says is creative, and you should write a check because of it. That doesn't exist, because ultimately, too, investors are people. At the end of the day, they're people. They have to build. You have to build a rapport. They have to believe in you, the person, because they also do know that you don't know all of the you don't know you can't, you're not a mind reader. You don't know the future, right? There's gonna be challenges. They have to be comfortable with the fact that that person's gonna figure it out. I believe in that person. That person has inspired me to cut this check. They can inspire these customers to sign a contract as well.
Because a fund is like a startup. They got to go talk to their LPs. They got to go talk to their money sources and go, yo, trust me, I found somebody. And if you did a job at getting them to believe in your company, they can't go and serve as a champ. That's the thing. They call them champions. When somebody believes in you and goes talks to their team on your behalf, that's somebody that's championing you. And if you can't give that person the shield and the sword that they need to go slay any obstacle dragons that are going to come their way from the rest of the team that hasn't met you, you're not going to win. They've got to be inspired, because this is their job on the line too. They've got to be like, I take risky investments, but yo, look, this company here, the way I saw them, everything they told me was gold. This is the world that we are messing up because we didn't already jump on board. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to find a way to put my pocket money in it. You want that kind of vibe when you do the job of inspiring. I'm not saying sell smoke. That's a big thing. That's why we led with quantitative data. Like we led with numbers. You got to actually have something under the hood. You can't tell somebody that you have a dope car and it does 0 to a billion in 0.6 seconds and there's no engine. You got to really have something there. But we're saying when you actually started figuring something out, it should be in service of this big narrative that you've created to show the world and how you've eliminated this problem that you started the company because of.
You have to be big, bold, and ambitious.
Yep. There you go. Be a hero. So this kind of leans more into the pitch, where the thing is, if you're part of the accelerator, you'll see that we don't tend to do a lot of work focused on getting you to pitch at pitch competitions. Granted, we have a pitch competition coming up, but we like to do it where when you send your deck out to the investors, they get all of the learnings up front. They see the FOMO, and then they reach out to you to have a conversation. We've seen with a lot of founders that we work with, that's what tends to happen. They don't have a traditional pitch. They don't have to pitch in front of the rest of the fund. They're just like, hey, I want to talk to this founder and see if this founder is somebody I can work with for the next 10 years. So when you're talking out loud to people or you're a part of a pitch competition, we would suggest that you become a hero. You need to create a big villain, the big bad, the thing that's ruining everybody's lives. Hey, you didn't know about this, but this is ruining your life. This is why XYZ is happening. You need to create that so then your solution serves as the hero, serves as the killer of all things scary, the person that made the world right again. That's what you need to become. And so it's
and I want to add, Jay, and the villain that we're talking about, we're talking about narrow down what you're trying to solve into one word if you can. If it's complexity, if it's in my company, it's retention of nurses. If it's expense, if it's fragmentation, everybody has this one singular villain that their solution will address. The other reason why it's important is that if you're consistent and your audience knows who your villain is, it's easier for them to place your company, associate your company. And it's easier for them to be champions, like Jay mentioned, for your company as well. They might not know the details, but they know, that's the company that's taking care of retention. That's the company that's taking care of compliance, complicated compliance. That's the company that's taking care of being able to convert video into transactions. that is what you want, and that's how you build really a lot of the, I guess you can say, the reputation of the company, but it also brings some advocates around that also believe in that same and slaying that same villain. That's how you identify a tribe, people that we all believe the same thing. Extremely important. It's extremely important for people to understand or to associate, I should say, your company with a villain immediately. It is a quick shortcut for them to be able to then refer someone else to your company. And
Yeah,
I'll start with this one, Jay. So, and this is kind of a wrap up of, of the last couple of slides that we've talked about. When we want to talk about being inspirational, this is how you can be inspirational. Share your values, share your beliefs, share your vision of the future, share your mission. In business, whether it be in sales, whether it be in fundraising, there is, this concept that we talk a lot about at Co-Found. It's the idea of know, like, and trust. That is the three-step process to get a transaction done. So in order for someone to know, like, and trust you, this is how they have to know your why. And that is the easy, quick way that they can know, like, I like this person. You know what? I know Jehue now. I like Jehue. I trust Jehue. Now I wanna buy Jehue's product. That is the process that we all go through, and that is how you can step outside the box of just, hey, I'm a creative person, smart person with this product. I have this mission, this vision, this purpose that maybe you align with, and that makes it easy for everybody to buy in as well.
I want to also harp on the fact that we took the time to make sure to break down a little bit of the individual, I guess, pillars that make up your why, because some of them feel like they would overlap, or at least in the more generic conversation they would overlap. But we like to think that we've created this understanding in-house based off of, again, learnings as to how we identify them, like the values being what you hold near and dear. This is the thing that, like, will make it so you never quit, because an investor needs to believe that you're also never going to stop trying to fix this. Like, and that's something that you need to believe. Your team needs to believe, like, you're never going to stop trying to fix this. There's something that,
And to keep it real, like, that's how we make friends. That's how you meet somebody somewhere, and that's how, those are the ties that bind us in a lot of ways.
Facts.
Similar values, similar beliefs, similar visions of the future. So if you can tie that in with your audience, whether it be an investor, whether it be a team, then know, like, and trust is taken care of.
And that's why I wanted to lean into values, only because it begets everything else. Everyone tends to say values and then vision, and they mix them, they blend them all together. It's not. You need one. You need a set of values, things that are important to you, whether it's like diversity, gender, or it's like, hey, I believe that things are too expensive. This is whatever, like, or things are too expensive. I value money because I experienced X, Y, Z. It leads to your belief, which then leads to your vision, which then leads to your mission. Like, these values is the most important thing. It begets all the others. So I just want that to be understood. That's why it's written out. You will hear from a lot of accelerators. They tend to make things sound like they're just, they're one and the same. They overlap. They don't. They genuinely don't.
And we're not talking about fluff, marketing fluff, because that's usually what we see. We see, oh, I got to write a mission statement for my company, and, like, this is more for you. I know we mentioned that before, and we've been through the journey of, oh, you should write a mission statement. Like this is for you to really understand what is the soul of what my company. If you understand it and you articulate it, you're gonna get people on board. You're gonna get people that are gonna help you win.
Next one. So this was something that was said before. We believe in your values over your features. Bells and whistles aren't going to save you, and that's facts. You can't, because, again, like we said earlier, if you remember, there's a dance that we tend to do. We tend to, like, tap dance and try to make people like us. We'll say, hey, I happen to be able to make money this way on the platform. That didn't get them. Well, I also happen to have this button that when you hit it, it does this, this, and that. That didn't get them. It shares on social media and it does this. That didn't get them. And we keep adding features to try to solve the fact that they don't see the value. Like you keep adding features to try to solve for the fact that it doesn't apply to their life in a way that's meaningful enough to get them over the chasm that is making a purchase or onboarding themselves onto your platform. You need to do the job of showcasing a really clean and clear value. Why is this important to you and how does it help you? That's the thing. Not my features can do these things to solve it. It's what is your company doing for them?
And I want to add too, like, so, you know, Jay and I, we're both entrepreneurs. You know that we're going through the same journey that you're going through. So this is not us. This is us talking from experience. This journey is difficult. It's hard, especially when you're new to tech. You have a smart idea. It's creative. It's taking a lot to get it to build. You get missed messages. So this journey is a lot of time about figuring things out. And the value part is difficult because what you think is valuable about your company is never really what you thought. It takes a lot of learnings, a lot of trial and error, a lot of L's to get to a point like, oh, this is really what my company's doing. So we do understand why, and we've done it early on as founders. We use features as a crutch because we have our insecurities. We're not sure what the audience is going to attach to. We're still not sure what our value of the company is. We just know that we have a cool idea that everybody says that's really cool. So that's how we regurgitate all of the features, all the bells and whistles about our company and what it can do. It can do backflips. It can go upside down. It can go in reverse. It can do it all. It can make candy. It can make ice cream. Like it can do anything you can think of. But over time, what happens is that when you run into these kind of dead ends, it's because the value of your company is not articulated yet. And again, we understand it takes time to do that. So the important work while you're going through the journey is to really think about the core value. Think about the villain. Think about who really needs what I'm doing. Test it out, measure it, so that you're gonna get to a point where you're so confident in the value that you don't need a sales pitch even when we're talking to customers, because that's where you see the value thing right off the bat. And investors look at you from the standpoint of a customer all the time. So the questions that your customer would ask about your product is what investors are thinking about when you're talking to them as well. So that's why we feel that we kind of, I think this is one of the last slides about our concept, but this is a concept that we all go through it and we get it. We know why it's a crutch. It's okay. It ain't no big deal. It is what it is. Everybody's gone through it, but you have to be aware that, man, I'm using this as a crutch because I'm not sure yet. That means I need to do more work in terms of the value of my company.
Facts. And it's also, there's the concept of the magical Negro in certain cases, right? You walk into a room and they already expect you to come in tap dancing on water, explain to them all the different ways that you're incredible and they've never met anybody like you. But if you can get the value of your company, it goes from you to what your company is actually offering. The solution matches the problem that they've heard of before, or you've done a good enough job at showcasing the villain, the issue, and then saying, this is how I tit for tat solve that. And I've already proven it. There's already some people that are here. You don't need to know all the other buttons. That could become something that you talk about down the line, but it's not what you lead with. You never want to lead with your features. If you're leading with your features, you already don't trust your company. You already don't even know what you're doing because you're walking in going like, I need them to like me. I need them to think I'm cool. So I'm going to tell them that it's got X-ray vision and all this other stuff just to get them on board. And then I backtrack and tell them it's a tax application. Like, do the job of telling them you have this problem when it comes to filing your taxes. My product does this really well. That's it. They'll understand the value. And then features becomes another, like, it's the sprinkles on top of your pancake. It's the thing that gets added later on. All right, next slide.
So I'll jump into this one. So we wanted to wrap up with a overall outline of what your pitch or narrative should include. And I want to add again that Jay and I don't use the term pitch a lot, but we know that it's important. It's easy for you to digest. We like to also use the term narrative. So we use pitch and narrative interchangeably. We say narrative because narrative is really what we're talking about, is building a story. So these 5 components are our framework, what we recommend. It's entirely up to you how you use it. But you can move them around and do the pitch, how you're comfortable. But we wanted to highlight them because they will get you the job of being clear, concise, and interesting. So the first one is the genesis story. And simply that is, where did this idea come from? How did you get here? Why is this important to you? What's personal about it to you? Again, no like and trust. It needs to be personal. How did this problem affect you to a point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna build a company to solve this because I got tired of going through this, going in circles? Or was it your mom? Was it your cousin? Was it your sister? Was it your spouse? Was it your partner? Extremely important to captivate an audience early. If again, that's how we know your values, your mission, your vision as well. So genesis story, that's what I start every presentation or pitch with. And so that would be the recommendation. The next part is, now that I know who you are, I know why this is important to you, I know where the story came from, is what are you? Like, what is this company doing? And this is where Jay talked about being clear. We are a pancake company. We make the best pancakes that give you x-ray vision. And we'll do it this way. We want you, and this is an exercise that we do with our founders in the accelerator. We want you to be able to describe what your company does in 10 words or less. You get really good at it, you get down to 5. You get down to 3, that means that you know what the value is. So that's something that's worth thinking about. And again, quickly, this is laying down the roadmap for your audience as well. This is telling them ahead of time, okay, this is who we are, this is what we do. This means that they don't have to do guesswork while you're talking, trying to figure out, like, what are they saying? Like, I don't get this company. Like, it does what? When is he going to tell me what it does? And we see this all the time, from live pitches to decks. Founders don't lay the groundwork about who they are and what their company does, and it's not clear and it's not concise.
You're like 8 slides in, it's just a mess, and you're like, I still don't know what the hell they do. Like, yo, what's going on? There's a bunch of tech. That's cool. Well, what do you do?
Jay and I see a lot of decks every month. There's decks we go through 20 slides and we don't know what the company does. That's a problem, and we're trying to help you win. Now, imagine an investor that gets 500 decks a week. So that's the reason why you're not getting the response a lot of times. So the next major component, like we talked about it, you have to show the big current opportunity. And I say current, that means what is happening today. Today, there's 20 million Americans that want pancakes that give them x-ray vision. And it costs $3,000 per. This is how an investor can start thinking while they're talking. Now they can start doing some math, some back of the napkin math. Okay, 30 million or 20 million Americans want this. It costs $2,000. Though this is a huge opportunity. This is the bulk of the work from an investor standpoint. If the investor sees a big current opportunity, now they want to set up a call with you or have coffee with you. You want to show them where's the money at? Where is the big financial outcome at? Where's the big return at? The next thing is accomplishments, and this goes in line with the momentum thing. You told them what the problem is. You told them where the idea came from. You told them, how you're going to solve this problem. And now on top of that, we got shit done. We got customers done. We got revenue done. We got partnerships done. We got contracts done. We got commitments done. Then you'll remove it. If you look at it, think about it. We mentioned before, that's a lot of risk from an investor standpoint that you're taking off the table. A lot of wires are being cut from that bomb. There's a big problem. I know who this guy and girl is. I know why they're doing this. I understand how this company works, what it does. I understand how they make money. I understand this big market, this big opportunity that's out there, and they already started validating a lot of and accomplishing a lot of things to get the growth done. And the last component, world building. Like Jay mentioned, this is what, again, you have to be inspirational. You have to be big, bold, ambitious. You have to show me your vision of the future. You have to remove worry. You have to show me that this is going to be a different way. Right, Michael? You have to show me this is a different way for this. Life is going to be different after I launch these pancakes. Like, I'm never going to eat eggs again. I'm not touching French toast again. Like, how is life going to be different with your company? And bear in mind, if your company is not going to do that type of impact, it's okay too. We're not saying that, this is what they call kind of like a lifestyle company. If your company is making a couple of $1 million, couple $100,000 a year, and you live in a great life and it works for you, that is fine. But we also want to help the ones that really want to disrupt and be big, bold, and ambitious. So that's really where, if we look at it overall, that is the major components in this journey and in this pitch that you're looking to showcase.
And I'm seeing some questions because I think that's the last joint, right? So this is join here. Email us. And in the interim, I'm going to answer questions. I'm seeing some from Safia, for instance. How can a founder effectively tailor their pitch to different types of investors? For example, angel investors versus venture capitalists. And that leans back into the early thing. It's like showcasing your value is going to get it. It's going to come across to anyone. You're going to meet VCs at a different stage than you would an angel. I guess everyone kind of inherently, because it's just a job of going out there and kind of soliciting friendships from investors, you're going to run into VCs that are institutional investors, right? Institutional capital. Your story is going to get more clean and more concise as you build. And you're going to have different data points that are going to serve to really pique the interest of certain classes of investors. So the same way you can interest an angel investor, where like an angel investor might believe in the vision of your larger world narrative and see some of the early steam, some of the early gears moving. A VC that's on an institutional level that's maybe doing your series seed and an A and so on is going to need to see a lot more of the validation, a lot more of the concrete. You do have sales, or you do have a swath of users or whatever coming on board. They need to see that. They need to see like, okay, you are really building, you are really moving forward with what it is you're saying, and you're not waiting for anybody. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes early on you're doing, gangbusters, and you're doing all the work as a pre-seed, and you're dope. And it catches, the eye of a VC, and they come on and it becomes a party round, and you get an oversubscribed round. You hear those companies sometimes that raise like a $3 million pre-seed, and then you have to keep doing the work, the momentum. The thing is that we want you guys to realize this one thing. We don't believe in the journey being centered around you raising. It's literally supposed to be you becoming a better founder so you can run a damn company, to be a great founder and run an amazing company, make your money. Investors are there to help you expedite growth. You're giving up a bit of ownership to your company, and don't be scared of getting up ownership. I hate that. Like, you can't hold on to everything. You can't retain everything. You got to give up equity. But when you get to a certain point, you got to understand your job is to run the damn company. Investors are going to be there when they see like the opportunity for them to make their money back tenfold, 100-fold, and they're going to help you do what you are already doing faster. That's what they're there for. They're not there to be the goal. They're not. I shouldn't wake up every morning and go, damn, how am I going to convince the investor to give me a check? I should be like, yo, how quickly can I get to a sale from 100 customers? How quickly can I get to 10K, 20K MRR? How quickly can I get to $100 million so then I can do a multiple that gives me the ability to say I'm a $1 billion company? Like, you have to start doing this work for yourself in passing, when you're doing a really great job in being a sound founder, the byproduct is investment, because you're doing the work that will already get them interested in you. Then you just have to
100%.
do a better job of presenting.
And just to wrap up the question, 100% what Jay said. The pitch stays the same. It's just that the audience is different. But if you stick to the core, it's gonna overlap across different audiences as well.
Yeah, facts.
So I have like two questions for you guys.
Yep.
Number one is, how should a person or a founder prepare for the unexpected? And what I mean by that is, like, say for example, they follow your advice today. They build this beautiful pitch deck. They go through our programs or an accelerator, what have you. They like, what happens if there's like tech failures, or they get these unexpected questions from investors during a pitch, and like, how should people really prepare themselves for that? So I'll just go with that question first.
So the job is full of unexpected. We have to, as a founder, you have to embrace the unexpected. It's okay. The unexpected, what you want to show is that I don't know the answer right now, but I can figure it out though. That's what an investor is really looking for. So even if you don't have an answer, you don't have to sell smoke. You don't have to lie. You don't have to make up numbers. Be honest and show them, like, well, this is how I would address it. If these pancakes, if the X-ray vision doesn't work with pancakes, but I think X-ray vision can make me run fast. So the idea is, if the positioning is right, you're not, I think Jay used to call it, you're not going to the altar of an investor and like, I have to be perfect. I guess this is what we're talking about. You don't have to be perfect. You should, no one's perfect. If an investor is making you feel like you have to be perfect, they're not cutting you a check. So it's okay to be transparent. If you already articulate who you are, your vision, your mission, that investor is gonna feel comfortable. Like, Sophia's gonna figure it out. I like her purpose. I like how she's addressing things. I like what she's looking to do. So embrace the unexpected. A big part of this journey too is learning from the unexpected. This journey is a journey where you have to be a sponge every effing day. Because people are we're giving out what Jay-Z says on the song. The OJ song. I forgot the line about giving 99-cent bad knowledge or something. Anyway. Anyway, we'll get back to. We're afraid of if he's there, he'll remember the line. The idea too is, this is a learning process, and it's okay. You got to be okay with, like, I'm learning. You can tell investors, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to pick this up, but I think this would be your approach. So that was how I would address that.
And not to, I guess I'm gonna piggyback to a degree. It is design thinking, right? So design thinking is just always looking at everything serves in service of my goal. So your business moves, your lack of data, your whatever, is all a business move for you. It's all something that you decided to do to help you along your journey. So it's not to say that you never lose. It's just to say that you never go in and try to answer every question. It's like, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. And if you don't want to mess with me, that's cool. I don't need to sit here in this room and tap dance and try to, like, be everything you need me to be. You don't do that. Like, I'm the pretty person at the prom. Come to me. That's what we're trying to get you to understand. And at the end of the day, life is life. You can cross the street and not be here tomorrow. You're worried about startup stuff, you'll be fine. Like, it's all, that's what grit is, right? The biggest thing that we said, and this is something that we haven't said, is, and we say it when it comes to being Black in America, but it's also being different in America. It's being different anywhere. It's a crucible. Your life is already a crucible. You deal with traumas that nobody knows about, right? You've already gone through some shit. This is gonna bother you. You're okay. Just keep it pushing. You'll be fine. And if you're not, you don't need to do it. Just quit. go work somewhere.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up. So one of the things that, especially with our accelerator, we're really big, that's different from other accelerators, just really caring for our founders' mental health, because this is a very taxing journey and
Facts.
it's very stressful. It's not easy. I'm even going through this process myself. And it can get emotional. Okay. I'm just being serious. Um, so like for people even that are jumping in this first time, knowing that it could be difficult and just their mental health, but maybe I'm being redundant here in my question from earlier. It's just like, again, the mindset of like, you can do all these things, but also just keeping in mind too that you could feel like you have the perfect everything. You have your thing lined up, you practice, you know all the answers to the questions. But there's always that potential you could still get a no from that investor. And just being able to understand like how to handle that and process that, but also realize that's like not the end all be all. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys want to touch on that a little bit.
I mean, I think I like what you said. One of the things that we like to say too is your company is not your personal validation.
Facts.
So if the business doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that you're slow, you're dumb, that you're not creative, that you're not smart, that you don't look good, that you don't smell good. It's just that. So I think a big part of what happens and the baggage that this journey brings is when founders are using the company to validate their personal life, to show my mother-in-law, see, I told you I can get this done. To show my ex-girl, to show my ex-wife or my ex-husband, to show that teacher in school. Sometimes it's fuel, right? And sometimes it becomes too toxic for you. So the the there there is gonna be, I don't want to use the term failures, but there's gonna be L's.
Else, yeah.
It's L's is how you get better. Me and Jay are as sharp as we've ever been as founders, and that would not have happened if we went and raised $2 million too soon. It wouldn't have
Right.
happened. We talk about this a lot. We know founders that raised a couple of $1 million and like they raised the money, they were able to do that perfect presentation. They got $2 million pre-seed, and I haven't heard from them on LinkedIn in 4 years. Because the destination is not the fundraise. The fundraise is just another chapter. So the company is not there for your personal validation. It is your passion, it is your drive, it's all good. But if there's hiccups along the way, it doesn't make you less of a person.
And I'll say this because one of the things that happened, I'm a person that I'm funny. Everybody that knows me knows I'm smarmy. I tend to be an asshole. Like I used to build companies out of spite. Like, oh, you said no, bet I'm gonna build something, and that doesn't help because you think that you win when you do find some modicum of success. You're just like, you know what? I did this. I believed my own Kool-Aid. I drank my own Kool-Aid, and I succeeded. The reality is, the life of a founder should be expect nothing but L's, preparing for what happens if you get a yes. Because the other thing that happens is you get a yes. So now, Sophia, I give you $2 million today. What's the first thing you do? A lot of people are like, shit, I got the money. What do I do? What's my first thing? You're not prepared. So you out here raising because the story, the romance that they put, the noise that they put out there is go raise, grow. At the cost of what? You don't know how to run your company. You don't actually have a company. You have a great idea. You have a lot of momentum on this cool project, this hobby that's going somewhere, but you don't have a company. You haven't figured out the nitty gritty to get you to be able to survive whatever's coming down the pipeline, to look and actually say that we've identified the right customer. We
And
onboarded
repeat
people
it, and
repeat it. It's a process. People don't do that. So now somebody gives you $2 million on an idea. It's like, okay. What's the first thing you do? That's the biggest thing. It's like, what's the first thing you do? You don't know. So we're telling you, just expect L's. Like life is filled with L's. Expect L's.
But pick up your learnings. Be a sponge. You're never too old. You're never too young. Pick up what people are dropping down. People are dropping dimes. Pick it up. People are giving you this. Man, Wilfredo just get, that's not the line, Wilfredo, but I appreciate the suggestion in the chat. It's another line. It's from that OJ song. I'm trying to give you $1 million worth of knowledge, I think for $9.99 or something like that. I think that's the line.
Thoughts, you do the dishes.
No, that's a different one. I think it's I'm giving you
$2
million
genius?
worth of.
Okay, anyway, yeah, I'm sitting here like, what's going on? No, but the one thing I will say that is very important is just something that needs to be said. There is this notion of fail fast, right? Fail fast. Fail fast can happen within your company. You could start an initiative internally to try to do something and prove out some validation, and it doesn't yield anything. Learn that was an L. What you had assumed wasn't working. Pivot. You took your learnings, you used it to make an assumption. The assumption wasn't correct. And there you should use that data to help you figure out the new path forward. Fail quickly internally even. It doesn't just mean fail, stop, new company. It also means take those learnings and what you're doing and look and see how it can be applied to the validation you're trying to prove to get across the fact that I can still accomplish this mission that I'm setting out to do, to create this vision. I just have to go about it differently. All right. So, I mean, I know we can talk forever.
Okay, I found a line.
Of course he did. I knew he was looking.
I found it.
What is it?
I found it. I'm trying to give you $1 million worth of game for $9.99.
Really? And that concludes our TED Talk.
No.
Yeah, we heard it.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up. We're way over time, but this was still a great conversation. And this evening definitely was not wasted. So, but thank you to Joel and Jehue for joining us today. So if you, again, another introduction. So we have our startup director, and then we also have our other startup program manager who is just helping with these accelerator programs that we have running here at BOT. So if you have any questions, you have their email here, and they're both are their own co-founders for CoFound too as well. So they already know a lot of this business. And if you have any questions, please reach out and talk to them. I did put in the comments links to our accelerator if you want to just learn more about that program in general, because this is just like a tidbit of what you'll learn. You learn so much more in our programming to help get your startup up and running. I see Javier, I think he put a question. Let me just make sure. He's asking what resources can we provide to our attendees to help them learn more about the business side of developing a pitch deck. And this is regards to coming up for his Dev Fest in the fall.
So just open resources to help them create stuff? Yeah.
Just have Jay come there. Just have Jay come there.
Just make me go do the work. Oh, just put me physically in the space.
Javier, just have Jay come there. I'm not in Orlando right now, but have Jay come there, and because I'm being honest, like we're not a fan of just packaging stuff and say, hey, run with that. So if maybe we can do collaboration to help you guys, we're willing to do that as well. We can take the conversation offline, but we're definitely open to our approach and how we can maybe help you guys as well with that conference if you want.
And the reality is everybody always does the same regurgitated delivery. Like, so we're not telling you notice we didn't lob up some of the other programs that exist, because a lot of people just copy, paste, and repeat, right? We do things where we meet the founders where they're at. Like, that's what it is, because it takes somebody getting in to actually start doing the work with you so other people learn. A lot of the people that have gone through the cohort will tell you, we learned when somebody was getting their deck torn apart. Like, it's one of those things where we do that. So Javier, reach out to us. We're open to working with whomever. BOT is here to work with everybody, and CoFound, we're here to help power what BOT is doing. This is a great community. We're evergreen in our application, so please apply. We have a pitch competition you'll see some information for coming up soon. And we're here to just help you guys grow.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thanks for attending. Great chatting as always. And like Jay and Sophia said, just reach out and let's have conversations. That's all. And we go from there.
Yeah, and apply with the application. Even if you don't think you're ready, still apply.
Yeah,
because we're definitely happy to still talk to you and get you on the right path in your journey.
Facts.
exactly.
All right, y'all have a good
Alrighty.
night.
Thank you
Take care.
guys.
Thank you.